Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Halfway through. Halfway through. Okay. All right, today's Wednesday, so this is a light day. We're just going to watch the serology video. I'm going to make sure that everybody has finished their blood typing lab after we do that. Because the serology lab is going to be our last thing on this report card. So. Watch it.
All right, forensic students, we are starting on our blood evidence
Actually, I just want to
section.
hold that in place until everybody's in. Alrighty. Good morning, good morning. All right, hopefully everybody has asked me to grade everything that they intend to have graded. Okay. This is not the class. Except for this serology lab, everything should be up to date in the grade book. Okay, I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes for someone else to come in, and then we'll go ahead and watch this. Like I said, we're just gonna do this introductory video, and then we're going to I'm gonna let you finish up. Those of you who need to finish up the lab, finish up the lab. A reminder, they're encouraging you to go to Shine. That's this afternoon. Y'all did very well this semester. I wish I could give everybody an award. Y'all are a really top-notch group. I enjoy working with you. Still missing about 8 people. But I'm gonna get started in a little while. Okay. Let me do that right now. Be right back, folks. I thought I did. March 2nd. That was okay. Alrighty. You're welcome. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Everybody else is just late. I don't know what that is down there.
And so today, specifically, we're going to focus on forensic serology and then a division of forensic serology, which is going to be blood typing. We're going to talk a little bit about blood typing and how it can be applied to forensics. And then in future lessons, we're going to move more into.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. Was trying to make it bigger and I made it go away. All right. Good morning, good morning. Right on time, sorta.
So before we jump into blood typing, you need to know that there is a branch of forensic investigation that is the heart of crime solving, even more so than fingerprints or hair analysis or fiber analysis, and that is forensic serology. So, forensic serology, when combined with the incredible science of DNA analysis, it can provide the indisputable piece of evidence that places a suspect at the scene of a crime and ultimately puts them behind bars. It is a hardcore science, and it is the hardcore science behind thousands of real life cold cases that have been solved. And so it is extremely important to talk about. We do not need to overlook forensic serology. And if you're looking for a definition, I've got one on the screen. Might be a good idea to write this down. So, serology in general is just a term that's used to describe really a broad range of laboratory tests that uses chemical reactions between blood serum and other bodily fluids and then reagents. So, we're going to talk about some of those chemical reactions today. Now, a serology lab is going to cover a lot of different areas, and I've listed some of those areas on the screen. So you can have a forensic serology center or forensic serology lab, and within that laboratory, there's going to be different divisions. So you can have an area that specializes in blood typing, an area of that laboratory that characterizes unknown blood, an area that looks specifically at spatter patterns or blood stain patterns, and they do an analysis or crime scene reconstruction. You can have a division for paternity testing and then semen identification in rape cases. And then, of course, you can have just strictly DNA identification.
All right, so we've already started. The first thing we did was the blood typing lab, but we are going to look at blood spatter and DNA technology as we go through this unit. So there are a couple of activities that we were going to do with this. Even though it looks short in Canvas, there's a lot of things to do.
All right, so there are 3 different questions that has to be answered by a forensic investigator when they're working a crime scene and they have found something that they believe could be blood. So the first question a crime scene investigator is going to ask is this actually blood? And they're not going to have time to swab that sample and send it off and wait days or weeks or months for those test results to come back. So an investigator is going to have a ready to go on the scene test that they can use to test to determine if something is indeed blood or not. They call these tests presumptive blood tests, and you can see on the screen there's different versions of these tests. But again, a presumptive blood test is an on-the-scene qualitative analysis that just identifies or confirms the presence or absence of a substance in a sample. So usually these presumptive blood tests use a chemical reaction to identify a positive result. So you can see one of the presumptive blood tests that are often used by investigators is something known as the Kastle-Meyer test. And this is a chemical, or Kastle-Meyer reagent is a chemical indicator, specifically phenolphthalein, that reacts with hemoglobin in blood. If it detects that hemoglobin, it will indicate the presence of blood by turning a bright, like magenta color, or like a really bright pink color. And I've got a picture of that in like the next couple of slides. I'll show you that. You can also have a presumptive blood test like luminol. This is one that if you've watched shows like CSI or Criminal Minds, you've probably seen the investigators use something like luminol. But again, luminol works the same way. It is a reagent that's just added to what investigators believe to be blood, and through chemical analysis, it will indicate the presence of blood or not. Specifically, luminol can be added to latent blood stains. Those are stains that can't be seen with the naked eye. And the luminol will actually bioluminesce or glow if it detects blood. So it is great for blood stains that have been cleaned. So if somebody's cleaned a crime scene to try to make blood disappear, luminol can detect that blood. Now, the second question that's going to be asked by investigators, after they confirm that they have blood, they're going to want to confirm that they have actual human blood, and then they're going to want to sample that blood, send it off for DNA analysis, and then they might also use it for blood typing purposes, which we'll also talk about today. All right, so this is just an example of the luminol test, which again is a presumptive blood test. It's can be done on the scene. You don't have to wait days or weeks for the results to come back. And you just need to know that blood contains, or red blood cells contain, hemoglobin and iron. And the iron is actually what reacts with the luminol. And with a UV light, it can be made to glow. And so you can see that in the picture here. This is an example of the Kastle-Meyer test. You can see in this picture, the lab tech is just swabbing what she believes may contain human blood. And then she puts it through a series of 3 reagents. And then if it does test positive for blood, it's going to glow this or turn this bright pink color. You can see on the screen, it's a beautiful color, but that does indicate the presence of blood. All right, so blood, if found at a crime scene, can be valuable in a couple of different ways. We know, because we've talked about DNA, that you can collect DNA from blood. So of course the blood's going to be swabbed and sent off for DNA analysis. And that's going to be helpful, but that takes a while to get those reports back. So investigators may need to eliminate suspects or confirm that blood at a crime scene is probably the victim's blood or could be the victim's blood or is not the victim's blood. So they may want to do a blood typing test, and that would, again, could be on the scene. So blood typing is often used not to identify a suspect, because remember, blood typing is a form of class evidence. So it's not going to narrow down the suspect field to a single person, but it can narrow the suspect field, which could be helpful in helping to eliminate suspects or eliminate the victim as a donor of a blood stain at a crime scene. It's much cheaper, much less time consuming than DNA profiling. So if you were one of my students, we've done a little bit of research over blood typing, but just to kind of recap, there are 4 different blood types. Actually, there's 8 if we're talking about the rhesus factor or the RH factor. So you can have A, B, or O. And then if we factor in the positive, negative, you can have A positive blood, A negative blood, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, or O negative. Okay, so 8 different blood types. All right, so that ends today's lesson. I'm going to leave this on the screen so that you can take a look at it, because I often get a lot of questions about who can donate blood. If you are AB positive, who can accept your blood or receive your blood? If you are B negative, can you donate blood? And so this kind of helps answer some of those questions. So take a look at this. Also, if you are not clear on blood typing and you want some more information, let me show you a really good website. Let me see. All right, so if you'll go to YouTube and type in what are blood types, the SciShow has a really, take a look at this.
All right, I'm going to freeze this
also,
here.
if you,
I'll leave that right there for a minute because that's the answer to the last set of questions on your worksheet for serology, the virtual lab. So in fact, I'm going to make that a little smaller and do a screenshot. All right, so you did have to know on that lab who can give to who and who can't. So again, the understanding was there are certain, those are actually proteins that are in your blood, and you either have it or you don't. And in the case of O, you have neither the A protein nor the B protein. And the other protein is the RH factor. So O positive says you have neither A nor B, but you do have R. O negative says you have none of those, none of the 3. Okay. A positive says you have A protein and the RH factor. A negative is just A protein, no RH. B positive, B protein and the RH. B negative is B protein, no RH. AB positive, you have all 3. And AB negative, you just have the A and B, but no RH. Okay. All right. So as you see, O is called the universal donor because actually O, they don't have anything in there. And specifically O negative is universal because it has nothing in there that's going to counteract any of the other blood types. So you see that one? That one is the universal. And that's a question on your worksheet. So if y'all haven't done your lab yet, these are the answers. So they can give to anybody because they don't have the RH factor, which will have an adverse clumping effect. They don't have the A or the B, so they can give to anybody. Receiver. Our universal receiver is AB, AB, this one, AB negative. Because if you can get from O, They won't bother you. You can get it from A, you can get it from B, and you can get it from AB. Okay, there you go. All right, so that answers some of the questions on your worksheet. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and let you finish up what you need to finish up in the, how much time? We got a few minutes left. So finish up anything you need to finish up. Actually. All right. And put that chart in the chat. You can copy it and save it somewhere because we'll need that later. All right. If you are finished with everything else, again, read that first lesson in serology. And that's where we will be on Friday. All right, if you check your vocabulary list, one of the two of the things she mentioned in the video were presumptive blood tests, and she talked about the Kessel-Myler color test. Those are two vocabulary words on your list, so make sure you go back and look at those. All right, don't go anywhere because I need to quickly do attendance. I need to see who's here. This class goes very quickly. All right, again, the blood typing lab is the last thing that is going on the report card, so you need to make sure it's done today because tomorrow I have to post grades. So please make sure that gets turned in. Alrighty. And it is time to go. All right, y'all have a great day. See you Friday. Enjoy Shine if you're going.